to the ER.
Do these guys have any idea what they are talking about?
Get squared away.
Spiritual.
Get squared away.
Emotional.
Get squared away.
Mental.
Get squared away.
Physical.
The podcast that'll help you get squared away.
All right, we are back with the sausage party.
You said it.
Oh, funny story. Sausage party. So contacted Martin yesterday. I sent the deer in for him for meat to get processed, and unexpected on how much he was going to get back. And he ended up with
double
90 pounds of summer sausage and venison summer sausage. So he put a post up yesterday, if you guys saw it, and said sausage party. So my wife suggested that our new podcast name is going to be the Sausage Party. And it's kind of fitting.
It's going to stick.
It's kind of fitting.
Okay.
I mean, if you look at the demographics from who listens, it's pretty fitting.
We have a sausage party.
About 89% males, 11% females. And I'm pretty sure that 11% female might just be like my wife.
We got to jump that stat. There's a few other people.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. Just messing.
We got to jump that stat. So yeah, invite your females, I guess, and hopefully they're interested.
Right? We'll probably have to talk about shit that they're actually interested in, though, which is probably isn't going to happen because I don't even know what that is.
Oh, we're good. We're like relationship experts.
We are relationship experts. So let's just quick high spot. Is there anything new for you on your squared away practices? Just new knowledge, new practices, just anything. We're going to try to get away from just going into us talking about the same thing that we do every week. Got a few requests that gets a little boring for people. So,
all right. Yeah, nothing totally new other than taking blood tests and just trying to figure out where I'm at.
It's good. We talked about that like 10 episodes ago that you were going to go do that. I'm glad you got it back.
Yep. So it's just, figuring out where you're at and then adjusting to it. So, I mean, workouts have been good, but it's just, okay, what are my next steps as old as I am and maintaining my, test levels where they should be.
And I want to mention something. If you guys listen to the podcast with J.R. Sharper Jr., he talked about DHEA, which I had been dabbling with DHEA, and the scientists are really unsure of what DHEA exactly does and how it works in your body. I think it operates differently for a lot of people. What I noticed is I started out taking it before I went to bed. And if I wasn't taking any sort of sleep enhancements, I was getting pretty shitty sleep. I was rolling around a lot. I was alert. I was up. If I was up and I couldn't fall back asleep, I was kind of angry. So just total speculation. I'm guessing that it was elevating testosterone levels past where they should have been.
DHEA?
Yeah.
Really?
So then I switched it to the morning, and it was good like that for a while. But I didn't notice as much of a difference having it during the day. So I've kind of backed back off of it a little bit, but just, filling you guys in, because we did talk about DHEA, and Junior mentioned how he was trying it. And I said that it was something that I was getting into taking, and I've kind of backed back off of it because I didn't like how it worked at night. And that was really what I was using it for, is I was using it for sort of overnight repair and maintenance. So if any of you guys want to try it, it's awesome. If it doesn't affect your sleep, I definitely noticed that it enhanced my my repair overnight. I recovered quicker, but affecting my sleep's not worth it.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing I've been working on, dick workouts.
I was wondering what that is.
Yeah, you're right. You saw that in my notes.
I'm like,
so you hear how women do Kegels, right? Women do Kegels to tighten up the muscles. Well, I started researching, and apparently men can get those muscles strong enough to stop an ejaculation.
All right, you're gonna have to explain that one, because
right. So the muscles are wrap around the tube that carries your ejaculate from where it's made to your penis, and you can make those muscles strong enough to where when you are ready to ejaculate during sex, you can clench those muscles and stop yourself from going, and then you can keep going. So you squeeze, the orgasm subsides, and then you just keep going again.
The hell are you squeezing?
The muscles. So the best explanation of the muscles that you're squeezing is, have you ever had to stop peeing in the middle of a pee? It's that muscle.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And so there's this app. There's this app I have on my phone. I don't even know where the hell I put my phone.
There's an
I think
app
it's called,
for dick workouts?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's called PFEI. And it goes through and it's these.
So.
Siri thought so too.
She's listening.
It's this app.
I gotta look this shit up.
PFEI, and it gives you like a squeeze time and a hold time, and it's got all these different, and that's all it is. It's a squeeze and a rest, and a squeeze and a rest, but it's different times of squeezing and different times of resting to build that muscle. It's building the muscle stronger and building your control of the muscle.
Okay, I don't know.
Right?
There's a Dr. Kegel. Men's
Sure,
Health
you
and
can use that
Sex.
one too. You're Apple though. I'm an Android.
Squeeze time for men.
There you go. Squeeze
Kegel
time for men.
exercises for prostate. Wow,
And so if
folks, this is new.
Hey man, I'm all about enlightening our audience and giving them actionable advice. And if you want to be able to go all night long, all right, you got to be able to squeeze that shit off.
$2.99 gets you stamina, STAMENA, for longer lasting sex. It's all about two exercises, the Kegel and the reverse Kegel.
Ooh, I don't know the reverse Kegel. I'm gonna have to look that one up.
Holy crap, there's a lot of them. Guy fit Kegel exercise,
Yeah.
erection.
Yeah, because dudes want to be able to rock for hours at a time, bro.
Jeez, there's the Kegel trainer exercise, which is like really nice UI on that thing.
Oh yeah, no, the UI on mine sucks. It's just a big clock, and it starts and stops, and then it gives you another workout.
So you just what? You take a piss and you just keep stopping?
No.
What?
You don't piss. You're not doing it when you're pissing. You're just sitting there. That was just my explanation of what the muscle is.
Oh.
Is that muscle that you squeeze? I'm doing it right now while we're talking. What do you think about that?
No, that's a little weird. Dude.
Yep, I'm doing it. Oh yeah, holding it, and then rest.
There's a lot in there. There's even the Latino version.
Ooh, there's a Latin version because they count different in Spanish.
Aperta is solta.
See?
Oh my god, I don't know what that means.
Opening a whole new world to you, brother.
There's also the FP period tracker and calendar.
There is a
Straight in
period
there.
tracker.
And there's the Asian Kegel app.
There's an Asian Kegel app. Just smaller Kegels.
Learn something new every day.
So that's my new addition to my daily routine. My alarm goes off at like 9. I do it while I'm driving around for work, or I do it before I meditate.
Since I work remotely, now you know what I'm going to be doing all day long.
Mm-hmm. Be like, bro, you don't even know how fucking strong my dick muscles are.
Wow.
So that's my enlightenment to the day. I mean, pretty much you guys can shut the podcast off now because you've learned everything for the week that you need to learn.
Yep. Download how many of those apps and squeeze it.
So we haven't talked about Rittenhouse yet.
Yeah, it's new. It's gosh, I mean, what can you say about it?
I'm really happy that the justice system still works.
Yeah.
The media doesn't work. Pretty questionable whether a lot of the other branches of the government work, but the justice system still works.
Yeah. Well, the media, I don't know if it doesn't work. It works. It kind of weeded out. You know, it was almost like an IQ test because there's some people that are still convinced that this is, you know, some racist white supremacist.
Yeah. So the weirdest thing
dude
there,
that shot some black people.
The weirdest thing there is that there was no people of color involved in this situation, period.
Yeah. But some people are still adamant.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure that if you didn't like really do your research, you may never know that the 3 guys that were shot were white and criminals.
Yeah.
Probably don't.
And
no
nasty
idea.
criminals.
Yeah.
Pedophile.
Yep.
Child rapists. So, and these guys traveled quite a ways to come in as part of this organized.
My favorite is during the examination of the Gabe, whatever his name was, Gabe, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways,
the guy that got his arm shot off.
Yeah. He says, the defense attorney says, were you aiming the gun at Kyle's head? Well, I don't remember, he says. And then he says, well, what is in this picture? Or no, he says, look at this picture. What is this picture of? And he goes, my bicep being blown off. And sure enough, he was aiming a loaded Glock at Kyle's head.
Yeah.
So.
And later on, he admitted that he had pointed the gun at him first, and then Kyle lifted the rifle.
Yeah. So, but pretty messed up. Really I can't even say disappointed. Disappointed in our current presidential administration's reply, both of president and the vice president.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but their reply, I think, is based on, and even the news networks have had to walk this back because, I mean, they're in for some litigation.
Yeah.
From Rittenhouse pretty soon here. So,
and so I was listening to a few lawyers talk, and it seems like defamation is something that you have to be some sort of a political figure to be able to financially gain from, is how the lawyer was explaining it on whatever news network. He was trying to explain it that, like, you have to be able to prove for defamation that you were at loss for your reputation, but you had to have some sort of a public reputation prior or something. And you know, it's all, law is really weird because we can say that there's laws, but really it comes down to like prior litigations and prior term, decisions and stuff like that. So, but yeah, he was trying to explain it that the case may be loose for defamation for him. But then there was the guy that got like $100 million from CNN a few years ago. The younger
Sandman.
kid. Yeah.
Sandman got $250 million total between the Washington Post and I think New York Times, and he's still rolling it. He's got six more cases to go. So.
That's insane.
Yeah, so he could be a billionaire by the time he's done.
There we go.
So, but I thought I've seen defamation cases go in civil court where somebody loses their job, and you could put a number on it. So
yeah, but you'd have to lose your job, right? Like, correct. He's 17 years old. He didn't lose a job.
Yeah.
But
he had now he can't move back into his neighborhood. His whole life changes. So how do you place a value on that? Same thing with Sandman.
Realistically, it's a crazy amount of loss that he's going to have. I mean, he's going to be probably nervous for the rest of his life. Yeah. Realistically.
Yeah. If you get your life threatened, kind of like Sandman did, it's like, well, $250 million. That's just a start.
And instead of holding the line and stating that the justice system, it was a tough decision. You didn't have to agree with it, but you could have come out and said, like, it was a tough decision, but this shows that our justice system still works, or something to that effect, right?
Right.
No. Kamala comes out and starts patting her own back about how she's worked her entire life for equal justice, which, first of all, the idea of equal justice is always equal. Like, justice is justice. That's like a fucking double negative or a double positive. It's a useless term, but for equal justice. And clearly we still have a long ways to go. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Yeah. You could stop right at quoting Kamala Harris there anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, she's completely lost it. But I mean, the whole thing is, I think it's pretty clear. I mean, there's so much evidence. So if you didn't watch the trial, obviously, and you're just watching the news, but.
Now, is it dumb as a 17-year-old kid that he was in the situation?
I mean, that's one of the root causes, but what's the true root cause is nobody should be going around burning up other people's businesses.
Yeah.
And
and why do 17-year-old kids from a different state have to come in and help?
Correct.
Instead of the actual people that are paid to help.
Yeah. But, his family lives there. And the guy that he was helping, ironically, the Middle Eastern guy that owned the car lots, when I had a client there, which was a university that's right next door to one of the three lots that got completely
and it was
torched.
The same guy?
It's the same guy.
Okay.
So I didn't realize that until they showed the guys, the two guys that owned it. The younger guy actually owned that lot. And when I was out there checking it out, he was out there just, that's everything he started. Sure, he's got, some insurance for it, but he's got to clean it up. And that's your business. You built it. That's your, blood and sweat. So people don't understand that. And that's why I hate hearing these rioters go, well, they get insurance anyway. Well, it still doesn't give you a right to go trash their business. So it's just.
No, and insurance covers the loss. Insurance doesn't cover the rebuilding of the business. I mean, people don't understand that a lot of business, especially if you're a business like a store, right? Or a restaurant.
Yeah.
And you have to close down for a month because of rioters. That business doesn't just come back. It's not like you just open and all of a sudden everybody's habits go back to coming to your restaurant or coming back to your store.
Oh, yeah.
You have to rebuild that shit.
Yeah. And that was weeks and weeks of cleanup too.
Yeah.
And you got to clean it up, then you got to set it up, and now you got to get new inventory. I mean, it's a lot of stuff they don't account for.
I mean, we're here in Madison. Look at the substantial amount of businesses that just stayed closed on State Street after all that shit. They're just done.
It's pretty sad.
Yeah.
I think there was 48 businesses that closed down.
Yeah.
But in the end here, I mean, if Rittenhouse goes after him, I'm not a big person on lawsuits, but guess what? There's got to be some accountability. So I think the lawsuits that's the only way to bring accountability to the news networks and even the administration. So
we go from a crime, not even a crime, right? Self-defense. Okay. So we go from a alleged crime, right? Because it was alleged when the lawsuit was going on. It was an alleged crime that his defense attorney was defending. You are innocent until proven guilty in our country. It's in the fucking, the Constitution.
But it's three criminals.
Yep. But so I'm gonna feed us right into the next thing. Okay. So we have a now innocent alleged criminal at the time that the media instantly puts forward as guilty, right? Media put him forward as guilty. It was the murders in Waukesha, or the murders in Kenosha. It was murder of Kyle Rittenhouse. It was all this shit, right? And that was the news stories.
Right.
Now let's roll right into Waukesha.
Yeah.
If you guys are unaware, I'm sure you're aware, a career criminal, drove an SUV into a Christmas parade, killed so far 6 people and injured 79 people. The media stories on this are completely opposite. They don't even talk about the man necessarily until they get further into the news story. All the headlines are SUV kills, SUV plunged into. They don't even talk about the guy.
Well, the initial is an accident.
Yeah. What's the difference between Kyle Rittenhouse and this guy, Jacob Brooks?
Oh boy. Skin color.
Yep. How fucked up is that?
Well, it doesn't support the narrative.
Doesn't support the narrative.
So whether you believe there's a narrative or not, I mean, I think this is pretty obvious.
Remember when all the black squares came out on Instagram?
Oh,
everybody was putting their black squares, right? And if you didn't put your black squares, silence was violence. So you were actually guilty if you weren't speaking out against what happened.
If you didn't put a black square out.
Yep. Silence is violence. That was their terminology.
Oh.
Just by not speaking against the I think that was Jacob, or right? Which one was that? That was during the
was it George Floyd?
Yeah, I think that one was during the George Floyd. So
if you didn't speak out against it,
if you didn't speak out against it, you were violent. Okay. But where is the outrage now? There's no outrage. There's no Hollywood elite outraged who instantly are on the fucking war path whenever there's any sort of mass violence, right? Where's the woke corporations? Where is all the Twitterati? Where's all this shit? All these people that freak out when anything. I mean, one woman died in Charlottesville when a far right, I guess, do we call him a protester? I guess it was a protest. Ran his car, used his car as a weapon, and killed a woman.
Oh, really? Was he far right?
Her. Yeah, he was. Murdered her with his car. It was a fucking outrage. One person. I don't see any outrage now.
No. Yeah, but it's 5 white people that died.
Old ladies and little kids.
Yeah. That doesn't matter at this point because their skin color's wrong.
One of the most damaging things here, I think, is that when you train a dog, right? Repetition is how you train your dog. You don't have your dog do something and then give them a treat once and they learn how to do it. You do it over and over and over. And that repetition instills the action or the idea that the action will get a reward. Right now, what we're doing is we were repeatedly creating a negative environment whenever a majority, I'm not even going to say white, but a majority human being or commits a alleged crime, and we're completely ignoring when minorities commit a alleged crime.
Right.
And the thing is there are some of the majority that are guilty and some that are innocent, and there are some of the minority that are guilty and some that are innocent. That's what the fucking judicial system is for. But all we're doing is creating this environment where you're basically ignorant to the law if you are from a minority class.
Yeah. Blacks and Hispanics are at top of that list.
Yes.
So, I mean, you as a white person, I mean, how are you going to react to this? Because this isn't going to get any better. This is a narrative that they're going to try to support. So, you know, as a white person, what do you do? What do you say? What battles do you pick? You can't stay silent.
You can't stay silent.
They're just going to walk right over.
No, you can't stay silent. You have to mind every P and Q. And you have to be able to intelligently uphold your ideals when questioned. You can't back down. You have to stay open-minded. If someone comes at you with an intelligent argument that makes sense, you have to be able to bob and weave and take in new ideas. And if somebody makes a good point that you want to implement into your ideals, you have to be able to have that. But you can't say something, get put on on blast, and then back down and apologize for it. Unless you're an asshole. If you're an asshole, apologize. Yeah. But if you were saying something that you truly believe in and you have thought about and intelligently have an argument for, you have to basically just dig your heels in. And the thing is we've seen it. We've seen it when somebody says something and they're put on blast by the Twitterati or the woke left, and they say, "No, that's what I meant. I'm not apologizing." They basically just move on. It's when you cower, is when they sense some sort of softness and they just fucking jump on. Right?
Yeah, so you're talking like guys like Bill Maher, who's a leftist, but he's been speaking out against a lot of this narrative that's, being pushed. Bill Burr, the comedian.
Yeah.
So he pushes back.
Yeah. And
they don't do anything to him. So
the thing is if you are strong in your ideals and strong in your values, you don't back down because you have thought through all of these ideas and all of these situations, and you have a very thick, robust base that you are sitting back on.
Yeah.
It's when you're talking out of your ass and have no idea really 5 layers into what you're saying.
Yeah.
Is when you back down because you can't uphold your argument because you don't even understand what you're saying. And that's what I see a ton on the left, but also a ton on the right, is people that are just regurgitating this week's social media facts and have done none of their own research, don't even understand what the facts mean, and are so close-minded that they can't intake anyone else's argument. Because the only way to come out ahead is to be able to see where someone else is coming from. And if there are flaws in their logic, point out the flaws in their logic, not yell louder about your logic.
Right. Now for us, we live in a liberal county.
We
Ultra. Should I use liberal or communist?
So I just came across this week. We live in Madison, right? I mean, just outside of Madison. I just came across this week. Do you remember in the early 80s, the governor, I can't remember what his name was, Lee something, called Madison 30 square miles surrounded by reality? And that is so perfect.
Yeah.
So perfect.
Yeah. So how do we live right in it.
Yeah.
So how do you, like for me, it's a little different as a minority. So now I walk in there, I could almost blend in and, be part of the narrative. But for you, as a white, mostly conservative guy, if you go in there, let's say you walk into town with a Let's Go Brandon shirt on, you're inviting that. You're going to start seeing blood start to boil.
You are inviting, but you have to realize that if you're walking into town with that on, you're already closing minds.
Yeah.
You're not inviting any intelligent conversation. You're pissing people off.
You're going to have to be conscious about that. Whether you live in, going to Austin, Texas, or going to, any, New York City, San Francisco, you have to be, as a white person, more conscious about that. Not even just white, even the black.
I come from and this has changed a lot over the last 15 years. I used to be that firework, right? That trying to piss people off, and I've changed a lot, because that's never gonna change what other people think. Showing them that there is love and humanity and intelligence behind what I feel. And the reason that I want to teach a man how to fish is so that everyone can be independent and doesn't have to worry about how they're going to feed their family. That comes from a place of love. And the only way to do that is to have the conversations, but have them very open and intelligent and not combative. Right?
Yeah.
So going into that situation more from a place of, let me show you how I think and how I feel and how I want you to be stronger as a race, as a sex, as an age group, as whatever your demographic is, that I can, that whatever your victimhood is that you are holding on to and not letting go of. I want to take you and I want to show you how that doesn't have to be a victimhood. That doesn't have to be something that you put up in front of you as a shield. That could be something that you put behind you as a fucking rocket launcher, and it could push you to greatness. Yeah. Not an excuse.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to have those conversations and not get emotional yourself.
Right.
And that's
sometimes you got to pick your battles.
Oh, 100%.
Because there's,
the woman at the craft store yesterday that you were at, I'm never going to convince her of, my point of view.
Yeah. I mean, you can outright see it.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes their appearances, and this lady had, Black Lives Matter shirt wide open and, just basically getting emotionally charged because people weren't wearing.
The whole idea of, they didn't have their masks on. I have this way down on my list, but Black Lives Matter as an organization is damaging, because if you agree with their politics, you disagree with their politics and you disagree with them as an organization, that automatically is assumed by everyone around that you're disagreeing with the separate fact that Black Lives Matter. And because I disagree with a organization who is named Black Lives Matter does not mean that I disagree with the term Black Lives Matter.
Right.
The organization Black Lives Matter currently has a buy black, boycott white business.
I didn't know that.
Yes. They're currently, and this is an LA thing, I think, from the articles that I was reading. It's based in LA, but I don't know how much of it goes out. But I mean, we're talking to the point that they're suggesting pulling out investments in white-owned businesses if you're an investor. You fucking idiots realize that that's the most racist thing ever. You're not combating racism. You're fucking igniting the fans of racism.
Yeah, but isn't that BLM's philosophy? Combat racism with more racism?
Yes, because it's
because then it shows everybody how racist we are.
It's crabs in a bucket mentality, right? It's the crabs in a bucket mentality. It's I'm only going to get better by pulling you down, not we can all get fucking better, right? Like you just think about, I don't even remember what it's from, but it's crabs in a bucket. It's a fucking bucket with a bunch of crabs, and there's one crab that's climbing up and trying to get out, and all the other crabs are grabbing at his feet trying to fucking pull him down, And that's the mentality, and that's part of that problem. I hate to fucking say it, is the family structure in minority communities.
Yeah.
It is.
That's proven. I think they'll admit it too.
100%.
But it doesn't, stoke the flames of the narrative. So
and that's really the point that I want to get across is by disagreeing with BLM as an organization, not not saying those words. I'm not disagreeing with Black Lives Matter. 1000%. Every fucking person matters. And I say that hesitantly because my daughter is currently going through a lesson in school. And we've talked about it before with there are no bad people. There are only bad ideas. But then you see something that happened, like this guy that ran over all these fucking people, and there's bad people. Yeah. Like he was damaged, clearly. And it sucks that everything that's happened to him in his life has put him there.
Yeah. But that's what he's fed spiritually.
That's what mentally. He's fed. 100%.
Yeah. You feed the devil's food cake. Guess what? That's what's going to come out.
Yeah.
So it's irritating. I mean, you have to look at Black Lives Matter just like Compassion International, right?
I don't know that one.
So Compassion International is it was a Christian group started decades ago. And what it does is it, goes into church and tells people, well, here's all these kids that, and if you give them $5 a month or $10 or no, it's $35 a month, they'll pay for X amount of meals, books, and yada, 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 clothes and whatnot, right? But then you really have to look at, okay, well, what percentage of that is really going to the child? Yeah. And I'm not doing that because of, I'm not compassionate to, homeless and hungry children. Yeah. It's because, there's 50,000+ nonprofits out there. And guess what? Majority of them, they're not honest. No. And there's maybe like 3% that goes to what the cause is. Well, I'm not going to throw my money at that. That's awful. Yeah. I'm not here to support the executive group of these nonprofits.
And that's one thing that you bring up now that I think of it. I haven't heard of that one, but I know I read a big article about executive compensation in nonprofits, and some of them are outlandish, some big names. Oh yeah. I'm not going to say like Red Cross because I don't know if that's one of them. But that's the first one that comes to my mind when I think of nonprofits. But we're talking like obscene executive salaries.
Yeah. So, I mean, the minute they start hitting most of the ones that I've checked into, because I get a lot of groups that, hit me up and, hey, donate. If you agree with this, donate. They plead to you emotionally. And then, you got to do some research. And when you do the research, majority of these executives, the executive teams are averaging, $350,000 a year. I'm like, for what? Yeah. And to me, it's like, well, okay, what percentage then trickles down to the actual cause? So I did that with BLM because I was being open-minded. I'm like, hey, it is an ideal that started it. So what are they doing about it? So the two things I look at is one, are they creating programs that are helping the situation, which was a flat zero. They're not doing anything. Yeah. And then, lastly is, okay, where's all this money that they're collecting going to? Well, 100% of it's going to Democratic Party.
Black Lives Matter. If you guys want some more information on this, that book is astonishing. I mean, it's amazing. The dude breaks down the ideals and the damage that it's done to the community and what his ideas of what can be done to actually improve the community. Yeah. That book's awesome.
Yeah. And if BLM was a group that, hey, they're going countrywide and establishing programs for, these kids without fathers, doing what Boys and Girls Club are doing, hey, you know what? I'd be all for it. But right now they're doing absolutely nothing. Yeah. Other than destroying other minorities' businesses.
And raising money for
political gain. It's stupid. So, sorry. I mean, that's the facts, all right?
Australia is taking on social media. Have you seen this?
I've heard about it, but I didn't really.
So from what I gather is they're trying to push legislation forward that would change the idea of social media from being a platform where you and I can post to being a publisher of you or my, if I post something on, let's say Facebook or Meta or whatever the fuck it's called now. If I post something, they are responsible for what I posted. They're a publisher of my content. So by changing that from a platform to a publisher, they are then financially and informationally responsible for what I post. So if I post something that is negative, damaging, slandering, anything like that, they can be forced to take it down and give up my information to authorities because they're publishing my content. And so they would have to, like, even let's say I had a completely anonymous, profile page, they would have to give my information, everything they have about me, my IP or whatever they have. I'm sure they save all that. You know how much shit they save. I mean, they if you log into your bank account on the same phone that you use Instagram on, they can probably tell you what bank you use. You know, I'm sure it's to that point because it's probably all IP tracking and all that shit.
Yeah.
So this goes through, they will actually be liable to give all that information to the government if they ask for it.
But they have the ability now to censor it by telling you that, oh, that's damaging information, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to post it.
But if you owned Meta, right? If you were an executive at Meta and you all of a sudden became liable for anything that was on there, wouldn't you?
Well, you start censoring everything then.
Right? You censor everything. The only thing that can be on there is puppies and kids.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's
fucked
imagine
up.
If that was here.
So then what that does is that opens up I don't necessarily understand the technology behind how it would work, but that opens up the possibility for a completely decentralized social media, right? Like how Bitcoin is completely decentralized.
Yeah.
It's managed on 1 million or 1 billion computers around the world.
Yeah.
No one person owns it. No one person it makes money from it. That sets up that would be the next step.
Right.
Because then there is no executive group. There's no one to take things down.
Yeah, then there's no Facebook, no Instagram, no Zuckerberg.
Can you imagine the fucking trolls that would come out on a completely decentralized, uncensored social media?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It would be troll central. It would just be trolls and dick pics. That's all it would be.
That would be Reddit, wouldn't it?
That is Reddit. Yeah. Reddit is just centralized. So that would also go away, I'm assuming.
I don't use Reddit enough, but the concept is roughly about the same, right?
Reddit is a trolley mess. There's great information on Reddit because if you know how to search, and weed through the bullshit, there's a lot of gold there. There's a lot of information that you can get about anything from intelligent people that are writing, you know, they just like communicating information, and you can get things on stuff that you would never be able to find on Google, you know, in-depth studies on random shit, right? On fucking the impacts of corn or whatever, you know, like you would take you forever. You could actually find that on Reddit, but
I've not used it. So,
but under there, you're going to have at least 100 troll comments on every fucking post that are just awful, like awful human beings, because it's anonymous.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think. I mean, these trolls, they must sit on their computer 24/7 and just sling shit all day.
So I think it's really hard for our brains to comprehend a large amount, like large numbers. It's hard for our brain to comprehend, right? So like if 100 million people are on Reddit, which I'm sure it's more, but let's just say for a small number, if 100 million people are on Reddit and 10% of them are trolls, right? That's 10 million people.
Yeah.
So 10 million people, if you divide out 24 hours a day, divided by 10 million, you know, you would have somebody new of those 10 million people could legitimately write a comment every fifth of a second, and you would have 10 million shitty comments a day.
Yeah.
That math does not work out. Please don't fucking write that down.
I don't know.
You understand my logic here, right? It's like, it doesn't necessarily need to be 5 people that are sitting on their computer 24 hours a day. It could be 10 million trolls that write 1 comment a day, and you have a substantial amount of shitty comments every day.
Yeah.
Now multiply that out by 365 days in a year, and you've got a lot of fucking dickheads writing all over the internet.
Yeah. That's insane.
Our brains aren't meant to live in this integrated world. Our brains aren't meant to be able to comprehend 1 million people or 10 million people or 1 billion people. You look at Dunbar's number, our brains are meant for about 140 people. Like even throughout evolution, when a tribe hit about 140 people, it would split off into multiple tribes and then grow back up.
Yeah.
There weren't 500,000 people tribes. It's too difficult to maintain social structures and integration, and people, all of a sudden the anonymity comes in, and you can keep track of, 90 people in your tribe. You can keep track of the ones that carry their weight and the ones that don't carry their weight, but they're also trying hard, right? Like that's what we talk about a lot, like the difference between somebody who needs help and somebody who just expects help. And in a tribe of 100 people, that's easy to see. Completely easy to see. You can see fucking Billy Bob over here is a lazy bitch.
Yeah.
Joan is weak, but she tries really hard. So we're going to help Joan. I'll give her some food when I get some. Billy Bob, fuck him. He can die in the corner. Right. And then he gets weeded out. His genes get weeded out. And then the whole tribe gets stronger. We're not meant to be in groups of 20,000, 30,000, 50,000,
350 million,
350 million people. We're not.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
New COVID variant. We're gonna keep this. I'm gonna cap this one at 5 minutes because we talk about COVID way fucking too much. But I'm gonna cap this at 5 minutes. My first introduction into this is, if you start reading all these articles on the new COVID variant, they completely speculate that because of the changes in the spike protein, that this is 1,000,000, billion, 1,000 times more contagious. They do not speculate at all about what it does to your body and the risk it has. If just simple knowledge of evolution says that for a virus to mutate, it would want to have contact with more hosts. So you're going to live longer. The virus is going to let you live. If you fucking die in a day, it only gets to transmit to 5 people. If you live and carry the virus for months, it's going to transmit to way more people and it's going to evolve better. It's not, evolution isn't smart. Evolution is dumb, but it's simple.
But scientific fact, when a virus mutates,
generally becomes
weaker,
more contagious and weaker. That's
what's more contagious and contagious? I guess that's a scientific question I have.
More contagious and contagious? Well, simple, the amount that you need to have to become, for it to take over your body, right? So like, let's say the initial variants, your viral load, you had to take in, I'm going to use a totally random term, but you had to take in 10 microns of it for it to have enough to take a foothold in your system and your immune system not to fight it off, right?
Yeah.
So let's say that was 10 microns. And it takes, let's say, a half an hour for you to, in a room like this of us talking, it would take a half an hour on average for you to get 10 microns of the virus from me.
Yeah.
Okay. More contagious would be, let's say, it only takes a half of a micron for it to take over your system. Well, that takes that 30 minutes, which how many people do you sit down and talk to in this close of a room for 30 minutes, down to 2 minutes.
Yeah.
In close contact. So that is more contagious than less contagious.
So the new variant is it Omicron?
I believe that.
Or is it the Omicron?
Omicron? I don't think there's an OMN. I don't know. I fucking typed this quick. So I think it's Omicron. Omicron. So the idea is if you guys have seen, I mean, basically every article has a computer generated image of what a COVID spike protein looks like. And it is this ball with these little spikes that come off, and the spikes are how it gets its way into the human cell. So the new Omicron.
It's Omicron, yeah.
It is. Okay. So the new Omicron has drastically more of those little spikes. So instead of, if you think of it as like those sticky hands, remember those sticky hands we had when we were a kid?
Yeah.
And you'd throw them at the window and then they get covered in shit and you'd have to rinse them off and they'd never be the same again. Yeah. Think of it instead of a ball with like 5 sticky fingers on it, it's a ball with 50 sticky fingers on it, right? So it's going to be a lot more sticky to the human cells. That's the idea of why it's more contagious.
So as an increased, risk fatality.
That's an interesting question, because if we're looking at a big group of 100,000 or 1,000,000 people, even if the same risk of fatality, the risk of 10 people dying, if it's a 10% fatality, one person's going to die if 10 people get it, right?
Is it 10%?
No. I'm using fucking random numbers here. Simple numbers for the explanation of what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So if the risk of dying is 10% and you have 10 people, one person's going to die. If you have 1,000 people, 100 people are going to die, right? So it may be the same risk of death, but more people are going to get it. So that means more people are going to die. My other question here is that nobody wants to talk about, and I am not a fucking scientist, but I'm very curious. What does a vast majority of your population having a vaccine do to the evolution of a virus? because the virus doesn't want to die. The virus, its whole thing, if it dies, it never expands and it goes away. Okay.
Yeah.
So the way that a virus evolves is if 100 people are in a room and one random DNA mutation inside this virus makes it 10 times more likely to spread, then 10 people get that one and only 2 people get the other one. Those 2 people don't spread it as much. The 10 people that had it spread it more. That's evolution. That's how evolution works. So if out of a room, 80 people are vaccinated and this virus has 50 different evolutions in this room that could take on those people, but only 2 of these evolutions, 2 of these variants, we'll call them because that's what they're using in the media. 2 of these variants can attack vaccinated and unvaccinated people. Those are the variants that are going to keep evolving. So it's going to keep evolving faster if your higher percentage of your population is vaccinated.
Yeah,
it's going to drive evolution faster.
No, it's true.
So what I'm saying is the current types of vaccines that we have are not the fucking answer. They're not the answer.
Right.
I don't have an answer.
Well, Pfizer's generating their version of ivermectin at this point.
Yeah, and that's being pushed through, and it's an antiviral. No, it's not even an antiviral. It's an antifungal, isn't it?
Antiparasitical.
Antiparasitical,
yep.
Right? And so it's an antiparasitical. So it is based on an HIV drug. And I think I talked about this prior, and I said we don't know what it's based on. It could be ivermectin with a different carbon backbone, just so that they can
patent it.
And that's not the case. It is based on a current HIV drug that is not prescribed, or it might even be an AIDS drug, because AIDS is a virus. It's a human immunodeficiency virus, right? HIV gives you AIDS. It's based on, holy shit, we're past my 5 minutes. I said we were going to talk about it. It's based on that drug. But because it's not prescribed very often for AIDS or HIV, because the amount you have to take is bad for your system, versus the amount that is showing positives for COVID is much less. So the negatives are nothing like what they were to treat AIDS. But this medication that we have currently is off patent. So what they're going to do is change it just enough that they can patent it.
Otherwise it's $4 a dose.
Yeah.
So here's the question. I mean, influenza is a variant every year, correct?
Yeah. It mutates. The reason that the flu shot sometimes works and sometimes doesn't is because they guess.
Well, it's based on a year before.
They guess what the variant is going to be this coming year. Yeah. What the main variant is going to be. Yeah.
Yeah. So ultimately it's down to good health, right?
For right now, that's the only answer we have is good health and treatments.
That's the numbers, right?
And treatments. Yeah. Treatments. Good health to try to make it so you don't get it.
Yeah, but 80% of the suffrage, I mean, the people that are experiencing heavy symptoms of COVID are what? Obese. 80+%. Yes,
but it's also it's got a pretty bad rate in countries that don't have obesity. So it's overall health. It's got the death rate is similar in countries that are not as plentiful and obese as first world countries.
Right. Or if you go to, China, there's a lot of, obviously there's not a lot of obesity where my family is, but a lot of people are heavy smokers.
Yeah.
So that's a problem right there.
Yeah. So overall health. That's what I'm trying to say is it's overall health, not just obesity.
Yeah. But in America, there's an 80% plus of people suffering and the symptoms are obese.
Yeah.
So, and then you take the other slivers, there's other, what do you call them?
Well, they call them diseases of plenty. They're plenty, first world diseases. You don't see heart disease and diabetes, type 2 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is a, totally non-functioning or low-functioning pancreas. That's totally different. Type 2 diabetes is a disease of plenty. But heart disease is the number 1 killer of people in the world.
Yeah.
But we're not.
So the big question is, whether there's a variant, and there's going to be more variants. They're just going to keep, pushing this out, is how do we react to that? We just talked before. You got experience in that where now you got families that aren't willing to get together with the unvaccinated.
Yeah.
If you're not vaccinated, boom, don't show up at the house.
Yep. And they completely ignore the statistics that you now are just as likely to get it and spread it.
Yeah. So what's I guess, yeah, what does that make a difference? So if you have a get together at a household and let's say you go in a logic where if you're vaccinated, you can come. Well, you can still get it.
And you're more likely to come if you're vaccinated and have it than you are if you're unvaccinated and have it. Because if you're vaccinated and you have COVID, your symptoms are very light. Generally, not always, but generally, there's people that
Depends on
die.
your health,
There's people
yeah.
that are dying that are vaccinated. Colin Powell died. He's vaccinated, died of COVID. But generally, if we want to talk about, big numbers, the symptoms are lighter. So you're more likely to come to Thanksgiving than you are if you're unvaccinated and you have COVID. Because if you're unvaccinated and have COVID, you're feeling it more. You're not going to come to Thanksgiving. You fucking don't eat.
So isn't the best protocol
Testing?
is testing? I mean, if you're that concerned and you can't monitor your own health, like, oh, I'm feeling sick, I'm just not going to show up to put everybody at risk.
Yeah. Why wouldn't we just do a rapid?
Say, hey, let's do a rapid test at Walgreens and boom, hey, we're all okay. We can celebrate.
We'll have rapids at the house. It takes 15 minutes. You guys, do it outside and wait in your car and come in when it's, come in 15 minutes when it's negative.
Yeah.
That right there is a perfect.
Yeah. Or do it that morning.
And this shit works. Like, I got a buddy who I rode in the car with, for an hour and a half, and he was sniffly, but he wasn't bad. He started to feel a little bit worse later that day. Yeah. And rapid. He texted me a picture of his rapid. Oh, sorry, man. I'm positive. And so I kept my distance. I took rapids all week, and I was fine.
Yeah. So what's the mentality of people just saying, oh, if you're unvaccinated, don't show up?
Yeah. Why not rapid? We could rapid's not 100%. Well, your fucking vaccination's not 100%. So where's your fucked up theories there?
Yeah, there's just no logic to it. I'm just starting to see, people start peeling families apart.
Yeah.
Just because, whether you have the...
Well, it's the Kool-Aid, right?
Oh, yeah.
They're drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, it's the merit badge now.
Yeah.
So, I'm vaccinated. I want you all to get vaccinated too.
Okay. Christmas gift guide. I just put this on the end. It's fun. It's almost, it's getting to be that time. If you're going to order something or buy something, it's about the time to
Ex officio go mesh boxers.
Dude, they're the best. They're the best.
Really?
Yes. 100%, 1,000 best underwear I've ever bought. And I've worn them for years and years and years. And it's all I wear.
Really?
Yes. 1,000%. By far the best underwear I've ever bought.
So I'm going to put a plug in for, new underwear. Okay. I like the new Stealth Skin by As We Move.
Okay. I'll check those out.
It's unique.
Okay.
It's like you got nothing on.
So there's Martin's plug. My plug is the Ex Officio, but you have to get the Go Mesh, not the cheap Ex Officio. Ex Officio has two levels. There's one that's just like the regular cloth, and then there's one that's the Go Mesh. And the Go Mesh is just what you're saying. It's like you legitimately have nothing on. All it does is keep everything like drying in the right place. And if you're a little bit thick like me, it stops your legs from rubbing together on your thighs. Like, they're fucking great. They're my favorite ever.
All right. Well, if you want to level up, then go with the As We Move.
Oh,
no spaces. As We Move.
I'll try them.
.com, because you don't have that thick waistband that the more you wash them, basically, they get all like,
I don't have
4 sizes too big.
I've worn the same, I have the same ones that I've had for 4 years. And I still wear them. Probably now 5 years.
No, really?
And
you know what? I'm going to order a pair of Ex Officio just to prove that.
Okay, I'm going to send you the link. Make sure you get the right ones.
All right. So As We Move is my my plug for that.
I put Assault Pen, but all this stuff from Assault Limited, which is one of the sponsors of this podcast, dude, that's some cool shit. Like, the pencils are like a black pencil, but the wood is black. So it's a black pencil with black wood. So when you sharpen it, it's still black. The whole thing is black. And it's got like the black on black eraser. They're the coolest pencils. It's just a cool little gag gift to like a stocking stuffer, right?
Let's get the pens.
Yeah. And the pens are awesome. Like, I love writing with the pens. They're heavy, but they're not crazy, like obtrusive. They got a nice glass break point on the back. They're a badass pen. And then if you really want to go crazy, you can get the Assault straws, which are basically just black straws, but everybody's all fucking paper straw Nazi around here now. So you get a pack of black straws and bring your own Assault straws. Cool, yeah. Right?
Assault Pen though for EDC.
Yes. Drink well. I was actually talking with a buddy about this morning. If you guys are drinkers, so it's a supplement that you take. It's DRINKWEL, and you can order it on Amazon or you can buy it from their website. And it's a supplement. And you take 3 pills before you start drinking, and you take 3 pills before you go to bed. And what it is it's N-acetylcysteine and milk thistle and all these other vitamins that help your body process the alcohol. Night and day difference in how good you feel the next day.
Oh, really?
Night and day.
So what do you take it after you drink?
You take 3
you take
3 pills before you start drinking. So like if you're going to go out, whatever, you take 3 pills and then three more right before you go to bed, good glass of water, and you wake up in the morning and nothing gets rid of all hangover, right? Like you get, unless you're a fucking alcoholic and then you just start drinking the next day, the hangover's gone.
So does this take care of Asian flush?
That's a good question. I don't know if it does because
I'm gonna have to test that out.
You actually have a different digestive, the way that your body digests alcohol. It's basically like a light poison to your body is why you get the Asian flush. It's almost like an allergy.
I light up like a freaking red Christmas tree.
So we'll try it. I got some at my house and we'll try it and see if it works. But I love this stuff. And I was talking to a buddy. He has a different one. If you guys have one of the subscription car washes by your house, that's a fucking awesome present. An awesome present. It's either, ours is $20 or $30 a month. You figure somebody, if it's your brother, or your cousin or something, you're not going to spend $300 on them. But if it's somebody that you're going to spend a few $100s on. Yeah.
Significant other.
It's fucking great. You can wash your car the way ours is. You can wash your car every day.
Yep.
Every fucking day.
Wash and vacuum every single day. Your ROI is basically 2.5 washes.
Yeah.
So that's a good idea.
The Jack Car books.
Yeah. I figured you put that in there.
Oh, they're awesome. They're awesome. I'm just waiting for the next one to come out. I actually just ordered a new book called Welcome to the Woke Trials. It's a British woman. She's a journalist that basically is like pulling the curtain back on all this woke bullshit and really like ripping into that entire like leftist woke movement and how it's damaging all of the pushes to try to actually, legitimize, minorities and stuff like that and actually grow and improve them. So I'll get into that. But the Jack Car books, he's an awesome writer. He really is. And the detail, he's a SEAL, right? Retired SEAL. Yeah. So he's got a lot of the knowledge, but he also like goes so in depth into his research. Like he will, he'll find somebody that has a specific gun that he wants to write about. So he can really like look at all the intricacies. So when he's explaining it, you can see everything in your head, like how it is. And they're awesome. And the storylines are great too. I put battery ratchet and impact because I use that fucking thing. I use Milwaukee. I use an M12 ratchet and an M18 impact. But if you're looking for something for your significant other and he's a dude or she works on cars, those things have saved me so much time.
Battery ratchet.
Yeah.
Well, what's the brand you recommend?
Milwaukee is my brand, but I'm a Milwaukee guy just because once you buy a brand, right, then you have the batteries. You just keep buying the tools and you always have the batteries. So you're kind of like once you invest once, you're kind of sticking to that tool. Like I have Milwaukee M12, I have Milwaukee M18. Now I have all the tools in those things versus if I was DeWalt, I would have all the DeWalt tools in those things.
True. No, that's a good idea.
And then I don't know if any of you guys have ever tried these electric knife sharpeners, but it's like a 3-stage electric knife sharpener. It's about yay big. It kind of looks like like a silver loaf of bread. And it's got the coarse grind wheels with the angles, and then the medium grind wheels with the angles, and then the fine grind wheels with the angles. And you just turn it on and all 6 of them spin at the same time. And you just run your knife backwards through it. Oh, they're fucking great. They're great. And then the Cairo gun, which is my brand that I use, but we were talking about it before. It's a Theragun, but the Theragun Hyper Ice, but don't spend, the $300 to $500 on one because you can get them for $100 or less. Yeah. And I've never had a problem with my knockoff Cairo gun. It's works great. Battery holds, it's got a lot of power. It's got all the attachments but anyway, those are awesome to and then if you buy it for them, you have to actually put in the time to use it on them. Right. Like if it's your significant other, like I bought you this and here's an hour worth of me massaging you with it. Damn. That's a win. Creative ideas. Right. Yeah. I guess another one I'd add to the list is, think this year about EDC. I mean, we live in a time where guess what? We can't depend on the police. I mean, bless their hearts, but there's a 5-minute response time and they'll agree too. So,
get your partner and get your significant others, whether it's oh man, I wish I knew what those guns were. That basically are pepper spray guns, but a Kimber.
Kimber, yep. The Kimber pepper spray guns.
Yep, the 2 shots. Or, you know what? Guess what? Knife is a good knife. And I know Dustin's making some custom knives.
Yep.
So, custom knives are awesome gifts. And then the assault pen too. Just whatever you can carry with you to keep you safe.
I'm going to have to contact Dustin. I've been thinking about having like a custom Santoku made, like for me and then both of my brothers, like really invest some money. It's something that they'll keep forever. And get like 3 matching ones and have them made.
Oh yeah. He was thinking of doing a Squared Away podcast one.
Was he?
He'd fly down there and
awesome
get one done. But think about some EDC stuff.
Are we going to be able to fly? Can we fly? Or we have to drive?
I don't know. That's a scary part. I don't know. That's why I got my kids all, basically travel credits and told them, hey, get it done as soon as you can, because we just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
The next few months too, I just want to add with the supply chain.
Oh yeah. Let's get into that quick. We're at an hour, so we got a few minutes, but yeah, jump into that.
So, I get the outlook every week, being in the business I'm in. I mean, we got to pay attention to it. And a lot of manufacturers right now, we're hoping that the cost of containers coming from overseas, we're going to kind of relieve, level off, maybe relieve a little bit after spring of 22. What we found out is no, it's not going to level off. In fact, Black Friday that morning, I got an email saying, hey, the LA containers are going up another $5,000 premium because everybody's waiting in line. The demand is tough. I mean, we had to cancel probably like almost 40 containers already.
Holy shit.
Because by the time you order a container, so if I'm a manufacturer, I'm making whatever product that you need. Right now, I guarantee it's probably already made, whether it's in China, Vietnam, Thailand, wherever it is. The problem is there's so much product sitting over there waiting to get here. Well, I have to make money to sell it to you. So if I have 150 to 200 and some products on a container, I have to divide that container cost up on each of the products. So it used to be, the last administration was $3,000 to $5,000 container. Right now it's sitting anywhere between 11,000 to, right now the average is 15 to 20 plus thousand a container just to get it over here. But then you have to add the cost of it's got to get trucked to the warehouse. And then from the warehouse, it still has to be delivered to you. And all that is dollars.
Fuel is up, labor is up, everything is up.
So right now they told me that, right now everything's up 287%. And by spring we thought there'd be relief, but they're saying now it's going to be another 100% stacked on top to get it over ocean freight. But then the fuel surcharges are climbing at 15%, clips. So right now, I hate to say it, for our listeners, go out and get about 6 months worth of supplies, because there's 2 bad things that are going to happen. Is either there's going to be, major shortages because we can't get product here. And if it does leave the port, right now it's 40 to 60 days, and then it sits at the port for another, it could be 1 to 3 weeks. So you're not going to see a lot of stuff. Shelves are going to be bare. Or 2, if there is supply, the prices are just going to be skyrocketed. So what are you going to do? So I know I talked to a lot of manufacturers last week, and here's the problem is for us and them to offset costs, we're looking at now is, well, how do we downgrade our product? So how do we start cutting corners on manufacturing so that it costs us less to manufacture and maintain a price point where it's not going to be a huge hike, but it's going to be a significant hike on all products coming through. So
for a shittier quality product.
Exactly. So for our listeners, it's like, I don't want to get you all crazy. I don't want to see everybody running and getting toilet paper like crazy again. But yeah, you're going to have to, figure out what you need to stock up and change your standard of living, because 2022 is going to be tough.
And maybe think about your consumerism.
Yeah.
Like how much shit are you buying?
Your standard of living. What do you need? Fill your freezers now. You're seeing prices go up on food, on meat, focus on that. Make sure you got your staples, your regular stuff.
Bows, rifles, and fishing poles, bitches.
Exactly.
All right. That is a wrap. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of the week.